Hey guys, how's it going? It's Crass here, coming in with a video regarding a 2-star gem legendary tier list. And I'm so glad you guys liked my previous video. It inspired me to go more in depth on the 2-star gems, since that is kind of the major goal when you're first starting with your climb as free-to-play or light spender, is getting 6 2-star gems to rank 5. And it can depend a little bit based on class and play style. Um, so depending on either what class you want to stick as, or if you switch classes a lot, that'll help kind of move your mind into what you're looking for. And I want to show you my thoughts on these gems to kind of give you a better understanding of what you're looking at. So you can see I got a tier list up here. It does have all the other gems, but I won't be going over those today, just the 2 stars, to give you the best information that you need the quickest. So coming in first here, we have power and command. And while I'm ranking these gems, we're going to take in mind what the stats of the gem are at rank 5, since that's kind of your stopping point. Once you hit rank 5 on 6 2-star gems, you're most likely going to want to save all your platinum and start working on getting your 5-star gems. So, at rank 5, we're looking at a damage increase of 13.5% that alternates between your primary attack and your skills, and also a 15% chance to dispel a negative effect each time it alternates. So, this is a pretty solid gem. I'd say on most classes it can be one of your top 3. Something like Necromancer. I'm not sure if the skill damage increases your summon damage, which it makes me want to put it a little lower. But even in that case, once you're filling out all 6 slots, eventually this will be one of your gems. So I'm going to put it at A tier. And one thing to note is, even though your primary attack and your skill damage alternates, I wouldn't really ever focus on that. I'd say just use all your abilities as they come up, and you'll get the best damage that way, since a lot of stuff dies really fast. That waiting like 2 or 3 seconds to cast your abilities for the ability buff might come in a time where the boss would have already been dead by then. And right here we have Follower's Burden. Now this gem is great. This is one of the reasons why I think Necromancer is the best free-to-play class, because it's kind of like a gem specifically for Necromancer at the 2-star rank. This, at rank 5, will give you a damage bonus of 1.7% per summon, up to a total of 6, and I believe that caps around, I'm going to say 14%. Let me pull up a calculator here. 1.7 times 6, about 10%. And it does have a secondary effect, which is decrease all damage taken by your summons by 3%. It's not that huge, and you're not really worried about that part of it. But I would put it in S tier for Necromancer, but just because that's really the only class that gets the max benefit, I kind of want to put that in A tier here as well. But if you are a Necro player, definitely should be your first or maybe second 2-star gem that you take to rank 5. Next, right here we have the Hunger, which previously was a bug gem where the description said it gave you attack speed after you kill a monster, but actually it's movement speed. And in a way, I think that kind of helps it. That kind of brings it into like a Isatar type piece. However, with it being one of your legendary gems, I wouldn't want to waste a slot on essentially an Isatar piece, and the healing on it is just atrocious. At rank 5 though, it does give you a heal for 80% of your base damage, and some small flat amount every 20 seconds, which is largely unnoticeable, and movement speed is at 8% for 3 seconds after defeating an enemy, which can be useful. I'd say the only time I would really consider the hunger as a gem in my setup is if you're playing a class that can't take much use of a lot of these gems, and then maybe as like your 6th gem, get this to rank 5. So for that, I'm actually going to put it in the D tier, considering it's either a non-choice or possibly a last choice, and even then it's pretty questionable. I'd almost rather grab one of the other gems, just considering the fact that maybe you will class change, and then get more use out of a different gem. Okay, next here we have Bloody Reach. This is another key piece to why I think Necromancer in particular is the best free-to-play class. However, it does work for all ranged classes, and that's why you at least want to be a ranged class if you're playing free-to-play. This one I actually will put in the S tier. I think it is one of the best gems. You can get guaranteed use out of it on half of the classes in the game, and even something like Crusader, I know has like a ranged build, kind of a niche build, but still gives you some use. This one is Battle Guard. Yep. So Battle Guard, this one's interesting because the primary effect on it, I'd say, is quite useless. It gives you a damage decrease taken from melee damage, which typically that's not an issue. Usually when you're in melee range of something, most mobs aren't going to hurt you unless you're in a challenge rift, maybe a raid. However, as a ranged class, which is what I think you should be for free-to-play, this one rarely comes into effect, and the damage decrease is 13.5%. However, the secondary effect is interesting. At rank 5, this will give you the ability to move unhindered through enemies, so you can just walk straight through them, no minion blocking. However, it's at 30% or below life. Now, if at rank 5, if that unhindered movement was, say, maybe at 50% life, I'd actually rate this pretty highly, because that could get you out of tough situations a lot better than this damage reduction's ever going to save you. For that, though, I'd say if you're playing like a melee class, so you're not getting used out of Follower's Burden or Bloody Reach, I could see this fitting in as like maybe your 5th or 6th gem, and for that case, I'll put it in the B tier. Now this one, which gem is that? Unity Crystal. Okay. So, this one's a little weird. It works based on when you're in a party. So it gives you a damage decrease based on nearby party members, and it's 0.9% per party member, so either like 3 or 4%, I'm not sure if it counts yourself. But that's such a low percentage, and it's on a damage reduction ability, plus being in a party. So this one I think is very bad. I want to put it with the Hunger. I'd even say worse than the Hunger. And the secondary effect increases party member damage by like a small 0.6% at rank 5. And that's the main issue with this gem. I'd say even with it being party based, I could see use out of it if these bonuses were larger. Now this one, Cutthroat's Grin, I believe? Cutthroat's Grin? Yes. This one I actually think is an amazing gem. I know a lot of people don't like it, or say the use cases might be limited, but when you're running 6 different 2-star gems, I'd actually say this is one of the better ones. I'd usually say around like your third or fourth best one if you're playing like a Necromancer or Wizard, maybe Demon Hunter. But even as a melee class, I'd say this definitely fits in as one of your 6. And the reason why is the critical chance that you get from it. Now this is one of the ways where, as a free-to-play player, it lets you sneak in extra damage to kind of keep up with the pay-to-play players. So when you're in, say, a Heliquary raid, and you try to kite behind the boss and stay there to deal your damage, this is what's going to give you that extra bit of damage to get that Chest of Glory as a free-to-play player. And then, all the whales in your party will see that this random free-to-play player got the Chest of Glory and they didn't, and that always feels good to me. So I'll actually put this up in S tier, just because the uses it gives are pretty unique in that it's a way for a free-to-play player to sneak out extra damage. It does have a secondary effect, but it's very small. At rank 5, that'll give you 2% increased damage when attacking from behind, so even though it's a small bonus, it's still a bonus that comes with what you're already trying to do with the gem, so that's why I still think it's a good one. Next up is Lightning Core. Now, this one, I know a lot of people, I'll see many free-to-play players using it in their build, and I think usually that's just because the game gives you one for free when you're like level 20. I'd say it's probably one of the worst gems, and the reason why is the lightning chain effect damage that you deal. It's a very small amount of damage, and it's on a 20-second cooldown. And where that would come in handy, like a random AoE burst, would be open world farming. However, if you're using a good build with just your legendary essences, then you shouldn't rely on any gems for open world clearing, and your build should be able to pretty much one-shot every pack as you get to it. It does have a secondary effect, where at rank 5, it'll give you a damage increase of 6% for 3 seconds after the lightning strike. But thinking about the use case again, where it's probably best when you're open world farming, usually what that means is you one-shot a pack, you get the damage increase, and then that disappears before you even get to the next pack. And I know some people will say it's a fun gem because you get to see the lightning strike and everything, but when you're free to play and you're trying to make the best out of your resources, this is not where you want to spend your resources. So I'm going to stick that here in the D tier as well. So there actually was not an image for the Abiding Curse in the tier list that I could find, and I was having trouble finding one to add. So I'm just going to say this one that's in here is Abiding Curse, even though it doesn't quite look like it. It's missing kind of like the black swirly thing at the top. So this is one of the new gems that came out, I believe at this point though, like a month ago, and I'd say it's one of the better gems. So this gives you, your attacks have a 15% chance to curse enemies, reducing their attack speed and movement speeds by 35%. For 4.5 seconds. And then the cursed enemies take 5% increased damage from all of your attacks, and you can't curse the same target more than once every 20 seconds. So it's kind of a lot to think about, and typically when you're thinking about like killing a boss, the effect doesn't work on the boss. I'm not sure if the damage increase works. Like if it attempts to curse the boss is immune to the movement and attack speed debuff. I'm not sure if the damage buff applies or not. If the damage buff does apply, this gem's even better, but even then, this effect is something very useful when you're pushing harder content. So say you're in a Heliquary boss where you're maybe right around the combat rating, or you're pushing challenge rifts above your combat rating, that's where this will really shine, because then any mobs just caught in your random AoEs, even targeting bosses or targeting elites in the challenge rift, they'll get this debuff, and that's going to save you a lot of life. for that, I'm going to put this one up in the S tier as well. And now, this right here is our last 2-star gem. And this is the free gem, in a way. It's from the Battle Pass. It's the only way to get it. I know there's like I think it's called the Prodigy's Path. If you buy that, you get it from there as well. This one's interesting because I'd say the main downside is also the upside, in that getting it for free means you're not paying for the duplicates to get it up to rank 5. However, it means you have to wait that long until you get all the duplicates to get it to rank 5. Usually, I'd say for most people's grinding pattern that won't matter, and you're not going to be sitting with 5 rank 5 2-star gems, and then you're waiting to get your 6th, which is the Fervent Fang, up to rank 5 because of the duplicates. And if you are a player that buys the Battle Pass, that gives you an extra 2 copies per Battle Pass, meaning I believe just 2 months of it, 2 months of playing the game, will give you enough copies to get that to rank 5. And what it actually does, because I didn't actually say that yet, is it's kind of like a single target damage increaser, where the more you focus on the target, the more damage you get. It gives you a flat 3% increased damage to elite monsters, which it's nothing you're excited about, but it's still a bonus that's useful. And the damage increase is 1.35% per attack, and it stacks up to 10, which is a total of 13.5%. And this is another kind of like the Cutthroats, where as a free-to-play player, this is where you'll get your damage increase, getting those Chests of Glory, or keeping up with whales, maybe in dungeons. And it's all in all a good gem. Free copies, good ability, and I'd say the picture looks pretty cool. So for that, I'm going to put this in the S tier as well. And we'll see here, kind of with your gem strategy, it's really easy if you're a necromancer, because you get this extra follower's burden, where you'd kind of want a follower's burden, bloody reach, cutthroats, fervent fang, although I've heard that doesn't work with your summons, but they fixed blood-soaked jade, maybe they'll fix this with summons. 5th one would be abiding curse, and then power and command. And then of course, with different classes, or if you're someone who plays many classes, that's where you'd kind of want to alternate what you're choosing. So if you're not much of a necromancer player, or if you are but you don't play the summon build, then this gem would go down and you'd want to replace that with something along these. Even though I have these 3 in the D tier, I'd say they're pretty interchangeable, where when you're scrounging for your last like 5th or 6th gem and you're not sure what to use, you can't really go wrong. I'd even say I should move these 2 up, but I think this gem for sure you would never want, and these 2 are pretty bad. I'd say if you had to choose between these, I would want to go Battle Guard for that unhindered movement. I think that's a pretty useful effect. Otherwise, I'd either say pick the Hunger, knowing it's just an Isatar piece, essentially, or Lightning Core, if you are running a build or class maybe where your AoE is lacking, then it might give you a little bit of a boost. However, it is on a 20-second cooldown. I hope this helped. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything you want to see next, and make sure to subscribe and like the video if you want to keep watching these. Thank you.